So despite my giveaway non-native Israeli accent, I have lived in this country for over half my life, and yet despite that still cling on to a few of the quaint cultural customs from the old country, like acknowledging people's existence in the morning by saying hello or good morning at the bus stop in the morning. This is my neighborhood, Armon and Hanציv, a home to two populations, Arab and Jews, who successfully on a daily basis manage to ignore each other's existence. Or to be more precise, this is home to 17,000 Jews who live in the neighborhood, another 14,500 Palestinian Arabs who live in the village of Jabal Muqaba. We live literally back to back with each other. We share one bank, one post office and one supermarket, which poses the interesting question: what does that ignoring really mean? It seems in the act of ignoring, we really are acknowledging each other's existence. But the truth is, everyone can see a little bit of what's going on, because identity is based on the stories we tell about who we are. And one of the stories of the neighborhood is told here in this board, which tells you the history of the conquering of the neighborhood. The giveaway phrase for me, at least from my point of view, is this word here, kochotenu. This area was conquered by our forces. And therefore one could ask legitimately, Arabs, Palestinian Arabs walking past here seeing that, it's not their troops, they're living under occupation, but nonetheless we are on a daily basis trying to conduct some sort of civil relationship. But jumping to the present, on October 2015, three of my neighbors from this side were killed by one of my neighbors, or two of my neighbors from this side, on the bus actually that I take every morning. One in particular, Richard Lakin, a 76-year-old man, is a member of my synagogue, was stabbed and shot. And in a way, coming back here, the same spot, remarkably unremarkable, the memory of that event is recalled by the fact there are two security guards there and there's a sign on the wall recalling it. This in a way is the border. For me at least, this is the introduction to a notion of this is what the landscape of conflict actually looks like. And that idea of the landscape of conflict extends to over here. Where we were just before, there is a sign acknowledging where the attack took place. Here we have a monument that tries to offer a different interpretation. The idea of the monument is that it sits at the top of the hill between Jabal Muqaba, Armon and Hanציv, the two warring factions, or in reality, by the way, the people behind the two factions, and to act as an inspiration, as a beacon for hope. That we will see this idea on the top of the hill and it will draw us to want to come and meet here and find a way to see each other properly. The problem is, the week after this was unveiled, there was an attack from people from Jabal Muqaba at the Yeshivat Merkaz Arav in the other side of Jerusalem, and people were killed. After that, as the mourning tent was set up for the terrorists, people from Jerusalem came to attack them. And we had a ridiculous situation with the police trying to keep all the people apart from each other. Everyone seeing hatred or anger or pain and hurt. I have to say I have no great sympathy with the terrorists and their families, but nonetheless that's part of the conflict. I'm caught up in it no less than anybody else. But the ridiculous or strange situation of a monument built for reconciliation sitting in the middle being ignored by everybody. Which leads to the key challenge, which is actually how does one live in a conflict zone? We can ignore each other, but we can't forget that each other exists. Are we optimistically hoping that reconciliation is the dream, or is it that built on a rather faint-hearted, overly optimistic, liberal aspiration? Should we be a little bit more honest with ourselves and say that the chance of conflict resolution is not going to come very anytime soon? What does that do for somebody who wants to get on with their life? So if reconciliation isn't a reasonable aspiration in the short term, what else do we have? What we do have is memory. Every year at this place, everyone in the neighborhood from Armon and Hanציv gathers to remember fallen soldiers and victims of terror. And ironically, of course, everything is closed off. The two neighborhoods, the Arab neighborhoods nearby, are closed off. No one can get out, no one can get in. But it's there for us to allow us to do our grieving and our memorializing quietly and privately and inwardly. Is it a reason to expect us to be able to feel more optimistic? Is it going to build a vision for a better future? Not really, but it does do justice to the past. But if the past is tough, the present in a way is even more complicated. Just behind me, the last terrorist incident took place very recently when someone from Jabal Muqaba in an articulated lorry drove into four soldiers, or into a crowd of soldiers, killing four of them. Since then, apart from the erection of yet another memorial spot, the authorities have built blocks to stop that happening again. What have we got? We've got the challenge of reconciliation, the difficulty of remembering the past, and this kind of somewhat feeble attempt. All we can really do is to put up barriers to stop the next thing from happening again. Is that good enough? Is that the real truth of what life in a conflict zone looks like? I don't know, but that's the reality of what we have. So we come to the conclusion. What are you expecting me to say here? Something nice, happy, optimistic? I haven't actually got anything to say. That's a little bit for you to think about. All I'm going to say is that I intend to say good morning and smile at people in the morning. That's about as far as I've got.